Hello there, very good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sonali Wanikabadage.
A very good evening, I'm Shane Silva.
We start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
Cyclone Neelam makes landfall in India. President says agrarian communities must be insured against natural disasters and wild elephant incursions. FM radio stations get new frequencies. And Sri Lanka men's team qualifies for the semi-finals of the doubles event at the World Carom Championships.
Starting off tonight's news, Cyclone Neelam has made landfall in Tamil Nadu, India. Indian weather reports state that the cyclone is packing winds of up to 100 kilometers per hour.
The authorities in Chennai, Tamil Nadu have converted 282 schools and 52 community centers into temporary shelters in anticipation of the mini cyclone Neelam. Meanwhile, heavy rain is being experienced in India's southern region and several areas have been flooded, according to media reports. Although Neelam no longer poses a direct threat to Sri Lanka, its effects are still being experienced in many parts of the country. Our correspondents reported that heavy rain and strong winds have been experienced in the eastern, northern and north central regions throughout the day. Meanwhile, the Disaster Management Centre stated that 49,788 individuals have been affected by the heavy rains. Our correspondent reported that Pudukudiripu, Dharmapuram and several low-lying areas in the Mullaitivu district have gone underwater, adding that those affected are being housed at a temporary shelter in Vellamuli Vaikkal. Up in the hills, 57 individuals from 14 families in the unique view area in Nuwara have been evacuated owing to a landslide threat. Meanwhile, the Kandy District Disaster Management Centre has warned that several buildings of the Gautami Balika Vidyalaya in Kandy are facing a landslide threat due to persistent rain. The Chief Minister of the Central Province, Sarath Ekanayake, toured the area today. However, despite the landslide threat, our correspondents report that parents of the children at the school have objected to the students being sent to safer locations. Meanwhile, a tree had fallen onto the grounds of the weekly fair in Dunagana Deulapitiya, injuring 6 individuals. Of the 6 individuals admitted to the Deulapitiya hospital, 4 have been transferred to the Gampa hospital for further treatment. In the south of the country, strong winds damaged a part of the Galle Divisional Secretariat. Strong winds also affected the Hikkadu area this afternoon. A tree had fallen close to the Dikwalla town in Matara.
Now, heavy traffic has been reported in Thimirigasaya along High Level Road as 2 trees have fallen onto the road. Police media spokesperson SSP Prashant Jayakudi said efforts are underway to clear the road. Meanwhile, railway services along the upcountry and Putlam lines too have been disrupted due to fallen trees. The Disaster Management Centre says around 52,000 people have been affected in 13 districts due to the prevailing extreme weather conditions.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that steps will be taken to implement an insurance scheme for agrarian communities affected by natural disasters and wild elephants. The President made the statement at the 50th anniversary celebrations of the Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation today.
The event was held at the Sugadadasa Indoor Stadium. A commemorative stamp and a book authored in view of the 50th anniversary of the SLIC were presented to the President. We can see the suffering endured by the poor agrarian families as a result of wild elephants. Their lives are being harmed. I think it is your duty to consider their welfare and insure them. It is your responsibility. At the same time, we saw recently the losses they suffered due to the drought. We believe that you will take steps to raise awareness among them and provide an agriculture insurance scheme. The President also felicitated the senior employees of the Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation.
Meanwhile, speaking at a recent event, President Mahinda Rajapaksa said that all professionals should strive to preserve the respect and dignity of their professions.
අපි හාමුදුරුවන්ට වඳිනවා ඊළඟට වඳින්නේ ගුරුවරයාට. අපේ හාමුදුරුවන්ට අපි හාමුදුරුවෝ කියනවා.
Why do we bow to teachers? We bow to monks and next we bow to our teachers. We call our monks Hamuduruvo. We call the judge Nadukara Hamuduruvo because we expect justice and fairness from them. So if we use the same term of respect for judges as we do for priests, then their behavior must be the same. The responsibility of preserving this respect lies with them. This is true of all professions. If the politician does not carry out his duties properly and destroys the due respect, if the professionals destroy the respect due to them, then there will be a breakdown in society. Therefore, we are living in an era where we must all live with respect for each other and respect for each other's freedoms and privacy.
එකිනෙකාට ගරු කරමි එකිනෙකාගේ ස්වාධීනත්වය හා පෞද්ගලිකත්වයට ගරු කරමින් කටයුතු කරන්න.
Still in local news, the case pertaining to the assault on the Secretary of the Judicial Services Commission, Manjula Tilakaratne, was taken up in the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court today. The Colombo Crimes Division submitted a report on the ongoing investigation to court.
The CCD informed court that information had come to light regarding the motor vehicle that was used by the suspects in the assault. The Colombo Crimes Division also said that after seizing the vehicle, they would be able to report on the suspects to court at the next hearing. At this point, the Mount Lavinia Chief Magistrate Nirosha Fernando said that the police must take full responsibility for the attackers being able to carry out such an assault and flee in an area which falls under her jurisdiction. The Chief Magistrate also ordered the police to conduct a comprehensive investigation and expeditiously produce the suspects in court. The case is to be heard again on the 14th of next month.
අපි දන්නවා ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොලිසිය ඉතා දක්ෂ පොලිසියක්.
We know that the Sri Lanka police is very capable, but we have seen occasions where when there is political interference or political involvement in crimes, the police becomes helpless. There is a suspicion here as well as to whether there is a lethargic approach to the investigation or whether influence is being exerted on the police investigation. As of today, instead of arresting the suspects in the assault on Manjula Tilakaratne, certain people have gone to the level of challenging his appointment. I do not know how fair this is.
Manjula Tilakaratne මහතාට පහර දීමේ සිද්ධියට අදාළ සැකකරුවන් අත්අඩංගුවට ගන්නවා වෙනුවට ඔහුගේ පත්වීම පිළිබඳව අභියෝග.
The body of another woman has been found with laceration wounds in the Warapitiya area in Kahawatha. Police media spokesperson SSP Prashant Jayakodi said that the victim's son had discovered the body. The police said that the woman was 60 years old. Staying in local news, the Sri Lanka Human Rights Commission convened its first media briefing today. Member of the commission, Dr. Pratibha Mahanamahewa, expressed these views at this media briefing.
There is severe congestion in our prisons. There are 339 individuals on death row. When we went to visit them, they said either hang us or direct us to another path. These people are psychologically affected and suffer from mental illnesses. There are 27,000 people in remand custody. There are people who have been in remand custody for 15 years. There are those who have been there for 10 years. The reason for this congestion is that cases are yet to be filed against these people. 65% of them are drug addicts.
Views were expressed on the issues that are said to have surfaced in the judicial system at two separate functions held today.
Addressing a function held to mark the second phase of distributing roofing sheets to 165 low-income families in the Moratua Divisional Secretariat area, Parliamentarian Sujiva Senasinghe expressed these views. Now they have started scolding the Chief Justice and begun slinging mud at her. They come to Parliament and sling mud without any shame. They are not matters that can be spoken of or listened to. It is embarrassing to listen to what these ministers say. The government is so bankrupt. Meanwhile, participating at a Janasuva welfare program in Siambala Gaswela, Ambalantota, UMP Deputy Leader Sajid Premadasa expressed these views. What has happened to the Supreme Court today? Political influence is being exerted on our judiciary because they are not dancing to the government's tune and is acting to uphold the freedoms of the people. I want to state to you that all of us in the United National Party will join hands to raise our voice against every threat directed at the judiciary.
One of the aims of the Divinaguma Bill is to initiate rapid development in rural areas through community banks. In order to achieve this goal, the Divinaguma Bill proposes the establishment of a community bank system.
According to the bill, each community bank that is established will be incorporated under its name and its functions will be guaranteed through the bill. There are 3 goals which have been set up for these community banks. First is the establishment of a live area banking network through coordinating the Divinaguma community banks. While providing financial assistance to improve living standards is the second goal, the third is for beneficiaries to engage in activities connected to microfinancing. Among the powers that will be granted to the Divinagama Community Bank committees are accepting deposits at community banks, investing bank funds, providing loan facilities and paying dividends, providing facilities and training for the development of the community banks, and managing resources that may be granted by the government.
From tomorrow, all FM radio stations in the country will begin broadcasting on new frequencies. With this transition, it is believed that transmission disturbances will be minimized.
The new frequencies are being allocated in accordance with a new national telecommunication policy. This program is being implemented by the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, which manages the entire radio spectrum in the country. Issuing a communique, the TRC says that the new frequencies were issued in a transparent manner, taking into consideration the existing frequencies of radio stations and minimizing practical problems. The notable feature of this new plan is that the majority of radio listeners across the island will be able to listen to a radio station on the same FM frequency from anywhere in the country. Accordingly, MBC Networks Private Limited, which has earned a name as a premier radio broadcasting network, will also have newly assigned FM frequencies for its multilingual radio stations.
It's another challenging time for all broadcasters. TRC has introduced new spectrum, new frequencies to all broadcasters, and we at MBC are very positive and we see this as an opportunity. New frequencies also means the spectrum is managed better, and we will have less interference and the listeners will benefit. And with this change, channels like Sirasa FM could be now expanded into the northern region. Similarly, radio stations like Shakti FM can be heard very clearly in the north and the north central areas, including the south. Now this makes the listeners across the country to have better clarity on the stations, and the station will be giving better programs and programs which can be listened to with a very larger base.
The change in the FM frequencies is in accordance with a plan to reach a larger radio audience.
It's actually a very historical occasion as far as radio is concerned in this country, and also the radio industry in this country. We're actually moving on up from epic figures and epic numbers of 89.5, which we've obviously considered our home for the last 18 years. Now we're moving on to a brand new frequency, which is 101 from the 1st of November. 101, of course, is going to be one frequency that we are going to broadcast in Colombo, Kandy, and also down south, and of course 100.8 island-wide. It's a big occasion as far as Yes FM is concerned. It's Sri Lanka's #1 hit music station. The station, of course, is going to beam up exactly what you've been hearing, plus lots of new stuff, but this time on a new frequency from the 1st of November. It's on 101 and 100.8. So like I said, very big occasion as far as Yes FM is concerned, and we're really proud about the change.
How will news programming on MBC Networks, which has always been in the forefront in innovation, reach the larger audience? From midnight tonight, you will be able to listen to News First radio bulletins on Yes FM on 101 FM MHz and on 100.8 FM MHz.
A workshop was organized by the Eksat Lakwanita Front in Pitakotte today.
Former parliamentarian Anjanumma, who joined the UNP, obtained party membership at this event.
Back in 1995, PC Bulana introduced legislation providing maternity leave to our mothers. Today, the government has taken away that leave from the mothers. The government has taken a 3 months leave which was allocated for the mother to feed the baby.
මාස 3ක් ඇතුළත මාතෘත්වයට පාතබන මව දරුවට මාස 3ක් ඇතුළත කිරි ටික පොවන්න නිවාඩුව ලබා දුන්න එක අද මේ ආණ්ඩුව උදුරගෙන. ඊයේ අපි සම්මත කරේ අපේ
Yesterday we discussed and passed our policy framework for the next election and forming the next government. We have named it the radical statement. Everyone must be given the opportunity to move up and secure victory at least once in a lifetime. We have the talent and the ability. We must use them to forge ahead.
අනුගාමී ජීවිතයක අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා. ඒ දක්ෂකම් තියෙනවා. ඒ දක්ෂකම් වලින් ඉදිරියට යනවා.